Okay, what's your name? Where are you from and how old are you?
Yeah, my name's Andrew, from Australia originally, but have been living in Bali in Indonesia for about 10 years now, and I'm 39.
39, okay, and you work remotely?
I do. I work for a company called Automatic, which has been remote for its entire history, so 16 years now. And I work in the WordPress VIP division, which is hosting WordPress sites like enterprise scale.
Okay. So are you building websites based on WordPress, or what are you doing exactly?
So we host WordPress websites and we work with enterprise customers and provide them with engineer to engineer support.
Okay, so could you describe it a bit more, because I don't understand really what...
Sure. So WordPress is really flexible content management system, and it can support websites that are really small up to like enterprise scale websites, and the enterprise scale ones require a different hosting solution to make them performant and secure, and they require different levels of support. And so WordPress VIP provides all those enterprise-focused hosting environments and developer experiences and workflows and support. That's what we do.
So you are more into connecting people with WordPress?
So that's a very general thing that we do, I have an engineering background myself, and so I was building WordPress sites for people. I'm now more in customer success and make sure that the customers using the WordPress VIP platform are getting all the value that they can out of there, and they're really happy and they're achieving their goals.
And how long are you now doing this kind of job?
I've just reached my 5-year milestone, so the last 5 years I've been working remotely with...
Okay, so you already live 5 years as a digital nomad. Can you like this?
Yeah, I guess my version of being a digital nomad has Bali as the hub.
Yeah.
And from that hub we travel back to Australia regularly, we travel for work to the US and to Europe a lot, and then just personal travel, shorter trips like this one to Chiang Mai for a couple of weeks at a time.
Okay. And why do you travel to Chiang Mai? What's special here?
This trip was for the Chiang Mai SEO conference. And my partner, she was the event manager, so she was here focused on that, and I was here supporting her.
There are a lot of conferences happening here. Why is Chiang Mai not hotspot, but a place where so many conferences happen?
Would only be guessing. Yeah, my partner, she might be able to sort of tell you more, but I think Chiang Mai has a strong startup and entrepreneurial scene. It's also got that great combination of warm weather, cheap cost of living, but also enough infrastructure to support these type of things. So it's connected via airports, you've got decent internet, so it's got a good mix of everything to make it work for conferences and for...
Yeah, the internet is very good here.
Yeah.
And Bali is your base?
Correct.
Yeah. Why did you left Australia and now living in Bali? Why is now Bali nowadays your base?
My pathway to Bali started, well, to Indonesia in general. I did a Australian government-sponsored kind of volunteer program where I worked with a fair trade organisation in Jakarta and was building them an e-commerce site using WooCommerce, so that WordPress angle again. And that was a 12-month posting, and during that time we visited Bali and loved it. It's kind of got a similar mix of things that Chiang Mai does. So it's affordable, it's got good, like sufficient infrastructure, and the weather's great and it's beautiful. So we visited Bali and then just did what we could to stay for a little bit longer, and that just kept snowballing. But now, do you want to do that bit again? Or?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So originally moved to Indonesia for a fair trade, like Australian government sponsored volunteer program where I was building e-commerce stores for a fair trade organisation. And whilst in Jakarta, we visited Bali and fell in love with the place. It's got the same great weather, good cost of living, and infrastructure like airports and internet that made it easy to stay there.
Oh, okay, and compared to when you came to Bali, what's different nowadays? I mean, I was in Bali and the traffic is very heavy.
Yeah, the traffic has definitely been something that has gotten worse over the 9 years that I've been there. I guess it's just grown in popularity. It was always popular along the south coast there for the tourist market, but I think people, the more longer term market has really moved in there and it's grown in popularity in that space. So there's a lot of people staying there for a lot longer, renting villas for months and years. And I think there's also just Bali offers a lot more than just that beach resort kind of vibe. So people are traveling more. And unfortunately, the roads just are too narrow and aren't really built to handle it. So yeah, you've got to know where to go and at what times to avoid the traffic.
Oh, okay. And compared to Chiang Mai, the digital nomadic scenery or environment, how is it? Is it different or is it similar?
I would say that the scene in Chiang Mai is bigger now than what it is in Bali. Okay. I think they used to be pretty comparable. A lot of people used to move just kind of back and forward between Chiang Mai and Bali, or you'd meet a lot of people in Bali who are on their way to Chiang Mai or like had just come from there. And there's definitely still a scene in Bali. It's just not as strong as what I see here in Chiang Mai. And I'm not too sure what the reason is.
So here it's strong community and
I think so, especially here at Yellow. It's a great co-working space, so maybe this is just what I'm basing my assessment on. But yeah, I think it is a bit stronger here.
Oh, okay. Can you talk about your earnings? How much you earn monthly or?
Well, I have a full-time job with Automatic, which is a US-based tech company. So I won't share any specific details, but it is a really competitive full-time salary. So I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything in terms of earning power by living and working remotely compared to doing something similar in Australia.
So your company is based in the US?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And if people would like to get into this kind of job, to becoming a digital nomad, what should they achieve to learn, or which skills are necessary to get kind of jobs like this?
Communication is a huge one. So, and of course, like online communication is where everything happens. So that's the big one. Being a tech company, I think we do hire a lot of engineers and a lot of technically aligned people. So having familiarity and experience with programming or building products and working with customers on who are using your technical products is really important. And I think, like, to drill in on that communication point, I think you need to be able to communicate your ideas in an influential way. So influence people in an environment where it's a lot of text-based communication and things like that. So you've got to kind of be able to write convincingly and able to influence and guide your team.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any advice for people who would like to become digital nomads? Which country or which city is a good environment to get started?
I always struggle with the which city or where to go question, because once you do kind of leave your hometown or get the freedom to be able to live and work anywhere, there's just so many choices that it can be really overwhelming. Personally, I gravitated towards the places with warm weather. I just find it's really comfortable and works for me. In terms of advice just for embracing the remote work lifestyle, I saved up some money before making the leap, so I had a bit of a buffer, some funds to fall back on, so that because I was freelancing at the time, if I wasn't able to get any contracts or there was no revenue coming in, I had it was about 3 to 6 months worth of savings that I could support myself with, and then of course you can always sort of fail back to Australia or wherever you're from.
But Australia also has some warm places like Darwin. I have been in Darwin.
Yeah.
But why did you left Australia? Is it
Yeah.
because of the cheap cost of living here?
Not initially. I think that's what's kept me in Indonesia, but I was initially motivated just to live and work outside of Australia to get that broader experience, and working cross-culturally was important. But now that I'm sort of established in Indonesia, the lower cost of living is a real benefit and something that does keep me there.
Oh, okay. Do you also, it's just a personal question, are you invested in crypto, or what do you know about crypto and what do you think about it?
I own some crypto, but a very small amount, and I just have bought it and held it. I don't do any trading. I think the technology behind crypto is really powerful, and I love the idea of being able to provide trust in a trustless environment. So I think the future for the blockchain and crypto is just going to continue evolving and finding more use cases. The currency side of it I think has to be there, but I don't know how it's going to like move into the mainstream, because like companies like Visa and MasterCard already make it really convenient to pay for things and transfer money, but you got to trust them, so there's always that catch.
Could you also talk about how long you are going to live this kind of lifestyle? Do you plan to?
Yeah, we plan to keep living this lifestyle for the immediate future. When we think long term, I think I do see living in Australia mainly for like healthcare reasons. When you start having more of a focus on maintaining or like being closer to hospitals and quality healthcare, then I think that is places like Australia or Singapore that have those. But yeah, for the next, I guess, 15 years or so, I think I'll be doing something similar.
Okay. Talking about healthcare, did you ever had an issue with health, or you had to visit a hospital or doctor? And how is it with healthcare in general in Southeast Asia?
I haven't had much need for it myself so far, which is very fortunate. The healthcare in Indonesia, there's a range, like in most places. There's some public hospitals and some private ones, and I think the private healthcare providers are more what I want, and so like that bit higher quality, but of course you have to pay for it. Yeah, it's definitely a concern that I have in the back of my mind, but we make sure we keep our travel insurance so that if there is an emergency or a reason for us to get back to Australia quickly, then we have some avenues to be able to help us with that.
Okay. Last question would be, did you ever started a company, or did you always worked for somebody?
I was freelancing for a little while, so providing freelance web development for maybe like 2.5 years, and that was what allowed me to stay in Bali initially.
Yeah.
But I found that the extra effort of running the business as well as doing the engineering was a lot of work, sort of doing as much generating of business as you were delivering the things. So I started looking around for remote companies that were in the area that I was interested in, so the sort of web development, and were really remote friendly, and that's why I looked for jobs with Automatic, and Automatic is just an amazing company. The benefits and working environment that they give their employees is fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Andrew, and it was a great interview. Thank you for your time.
No worries.
But just a personal question. I mean, you are very experienced with WordPress. There are also other website development platforms like Wix and other platforms. Do you think WordPress would still be in the future a big player, or not big player, but?
Yeah, I think it's always going to be important in the market. I mentioned the flexibility of WordPress earlier, and I think that is reflected in the fact that 45% roughly of the internet is powered by WordPress sites, and that goes from really small sites to really big sites. So WordPress is a platform that grows up with you. You won't grow out of WordPress, but I think there's more of a chance of you growing out of platforms like Wix and Squarespace. As good as those products are at like helping you get started and create those sites, they have some other limits on them that WordPress allows you to address and grow beyond them.
Okay, but what's the difference between like platforms like WordPress and Shopify? I mean, Shopify is more for selling products,
Yeah.
and is WordPress more for blogs and like websites or representing companies? Or how is it? What's the difference between these?
Yeah, they've got overlap for sure. They can all create basic sites. They can be customized to be more specific, like e-commerce or events or scheduling and things like that. WordPress is capable of all those things via its plugin system, and the main difference is that with WordPress, that you have access and ownership of the entire application.
Okay.
So you can choose where you host it, you can write your own code to run on it and to do whatever you want. So you've just got that complete freedom and ownership of the product, as well as a huge ecosystem of developers who can really help you to reach the outcomes. And
Okay. Is it important to know nowadays how to build a website on WordPress? Do you think it's important?
That's a great question. AI tools these days are making it really easy to create things without having to code them yourself. And I think it just depends on what level you're operating at. When you're getting started, I think it matters less. But as your sites scale and you want more control and more performance out of your sites, and that's when you need to pay more attention to the details and how things are implemented.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you very much, Andrew, for your time.
You're welcome.
It was a great interview, man. It was more than 10 minutes, sorry for that.
No.